what it feels like to go from being broke to becoming a millionaire. I'm not talking about how I did it. I'm talking about the emotions, the highs, the lows, the moments when your entire reality shifts and you realize your life will never be the same again. When I started, I didn't even think this was possible. I was just trying to survive. I wanted to make enough to pay my bills, to feel a little bit of freedom, and maybe just not consistently worry about money. And fast forward to today, the journey has been surreal. It's not just about the money, it's the way it changes how you see yourself, how you see the world, and what you believe is possible. The confidence, the peace of mind, but also the pressure, the sacrifice, and the unexpected joys of being able to give back in ways I never imagined. So by the end of this video, I want you to understand what that transformations feel like, because if you are dreaming of a better life, whether it's financial freedom, success, or just peace of mind, I promise you it's worth it. So stick with me until the end, and I will share not just the emotional highs, but also the struggles, the doubts, and the lessons I've learned along the way. And I will show you also how you can start creating your own version of this journey. So when I was starting out, just hearing about people making these kind of numbers, it completely blew my mind. I thought they were geniuses or had some kind of secret formula. And now that I've done it, I can tell you they are not. It's not as complicated as it seems. And don't get me wrong, because of course it's not easy, it takes a ton of work, but it's not impossible. And back then, I wasn't even close to this. I was just starting out, figure out things out as I went, and my goal at that time was simple. I wanted to make $10,000 a month. And to me, that was the dream. If I could hit that 10K a month, I'd feel rich. And then I read this book called The 10X Rule. So the idea was simple. Take whatever goal you have, no matter how ambitious it feels, and multiply it by 10. And so that becomes your new goal. And at that time, I thought, this is insane. I was struggling to even imagine $10,000. And now I was supposed to aim for 100,000. It felt completely unrealistic. But I tried it anyway. What's the worst that could happen? And a couple of years later, I hit that 100,000 mark. Then I kept going. Now we are at 4 million euros a year, and honestly, it's still hard to believe sometimes. I'm not the type of people to buy flashy watches or expensive cars. For me, the only time I really feel the money is when I look at this view from my apartment. And every time I see it, I think, wow, this is pretty cool. But here's the thing, getting to this point took phases. And so early on, it was all about working like crazy. Long hours, lot of learning, sacrifices, and even now, there is still work to do. So 4 million a year sounds amazing, and it is, but it's not magical. It's focus, hard work, and being willing to aim bigger than you think is possible. And in fact, there are different phases in any businesses. There are times when you are deep in your operation, doing everything yourself. And then there are times when you manage to step back a little and focus on growth. And every time you want to move forward or hit a new milestone, you have to go through the cycle. And so first you put in the hard work, grind through the operational phase, and then you set up the right systems or bring in the right people so you can step back and work on the bigger picture. And so for me, there were definitely phases in getting to 4 million a year. When you are on your own, it's possible to scale to maybe 30 to 40K a month, but once you want to go behind that, it's almost always requires building a team. And so the thing is, the higher you want to go, the harder and more complex it becomes. And I remember about 1 year ago, I spoke to a French entrepreneur, a really wealthy guy worth over 300 millions. He did created a unicorn, and he was doing incredible things. And at that time, I paid 1K for 30 minutes of his time because I had one question: how do I become a billionaire? And his answer struck with me. He said, becoming a millionaire is easy, but becoming a billionaire, that's extremely hard. And I like that he emphasized this point because it's true. Becoming a millionaire isn't as hard as it seems. And I managed to do it within 3 or 4 years from the moment I started my company. And considering the fact that I'm 24 years old, I could say, okay, I've got plenty of time to achieve even more. But what's important is that I build something sustainable. And so it took me a little bit longer because of the tax. I think that over the 3 years in France, I pay over like 1 million in tax to be exact. So yeah, when you are paying that much, it takes some time to grow wealth. But here's the thing, what really changes isn't just the money, it's you. It's how you see yourself, or how you approach life, and how you handle challenges. And knowing you have succeeded at this level brings a sense of calm and confidence. And I'm not making like 500k every single month right now, but I know that I could stop working today and I'd be probably fine for the 20 next years, probably even much longer. And that's a pretty amazing feeling. And so a lot of people ask me, why do you keep trying to earn more? Why isn't it enough? The thing is that at some point, it's not just about the money anymore. Sure, having more money can improve your lifestyle, it makes life a bit nicer, but what really matters is the experience you can create and the people you can share them with. So I come from a big family, lots of brothers and sisters, parents, uncle and aunts, and one of the best parts of having financial freedom is being able to include everyone in amazing experiences. And so last winter we went skiing, we rented a huge house, invited the entire family and covered everything. And a few months later, we spent almost months in Bali with my parents, siblings, and nephew. And those moments, they are priceless. And it's not that money makes life perfect, it doesn't of course, but it does make things easier. Less stress, more freedom to focus on what really matters. And it's also about being able to help the people you care about. For example, my brother's getting married and I told him I want to help you make this amazing. So we gave him like 10k for the wedding. Or my sister, she was going through a really tough time. I could see she was struggling and I wanted to help get back on her feet. And I didn't hesitate. I got her the best coach I know and it got 6k for 2.5 months and like 10 sessions. But it was worth it because it helped her so much and it felt amazing to know I could do that for her. And another time I paid for a lawyer for a family member who needed help. And it's not even about the money, it's about being able to say, don't worry, I've got you. And so what's even more rewarding is how it's inspired people around me. My cousins are starting their own business and hitting incredible milestones. And yet the fact that knowing that what we have done has sparked something in them, that's better than any amount of money I've ever made. But none of this comes without sacrifices. Building a business that allows you to do these things isn't easy. It comes with complexity, sleepless nights, and tough decisions. I say that with a smile, but it's true. There are challenges, responsibilities, and yes, a lot of headaches. But when you see the impact you can have on the people you care about, it's all worth it. And so the funny thing about being an entrepreneur is that when you start out, you don't really think about everything that's come with it. I didn't begin this journey thinking, oh, one day I will manage a team of 20 or 25 people. All I wanted was to earn a good living, be independent, and have some peace of mind. But then once you achieve something, you naturally start thinking about what's next. And Tony Robbins says it perfectly. Happiness is progress. And it's so true. The feeling of happiness often comes from making progress towards a goal. And so when you hit that goal, you feel great, at least for a while, but eventually you would get bored or feel stuck. And so the question is, how long does that take? 2 weeks, 2 months, 6 months, a year? I remember when I first hit 10k months. It felt amazing. And I was doing everything myself. And I pushed as hard as I could to get to 30 or 40 a month. But at that point, I realized I couldn't go further on my own. Then with my brother, we decided to hire some people, and with all of those people, we grew to 100k a month. And so at first we worked a ton to reach that number, but after we reached that level, making like 100k a month, it was much easier because we had to less work, because we have a team. And so it was a big milestone. But after 6 months, we started feeling like it wasn't enough anymore. So we leveled up again and hit 200k a month. That was another big step. But after about a year, we felt the same urge to push further. And so now we managed to hit 500k a month, but we have done it maybe a couple times this year. And so the goal now is to do it consistently and then aim for 1 million a month. And when we get to 1 million a month, I know what will happen. We'll ask, how can we reach 10 million a month? Because the truth is, we are not going to stay at 1 million forever, because progress is what keeps us motivated. And so along the way, you meet people who are way ahead of you. And at first you think, wow, they are so much better than me. I will never catch up. But then you start to wonder, are they really better than me? Or are they just further along from now? And that's when the mindset shift happens. You stop comparing and start asking, what do I need to do to reach their level? Can I follow the same path? And that's how you grow, by consistently asking yourself those questions and finding ways to level up, not just in business, but in life. And so we find the right people to help us to achieve our goal. 5 years ago, making like 100K a month felt extraordinary. Today it's still impressive, but it's not the same. It feels less rare because more people are figuring out how to do it. And so in the mastermind intent, I've noticed something. 1 million a month has become the new 100K a month. And it's the new benchmark, because before the people who were considered really strong were making 100K a month. But now the ones who are really crushing it are making 1 million a month. And there are a lot of them. And so when you are in those rooms surrounded by people doing these numbers, it makes you reflect. You start to ask, why haven't I gotten there yet? Why do they know that I don't? And that's a great question to ask yourself. It's humbling too, because it forces you to set your ego aside and say, if someone else is doing more than me, it's probably because they have understood something I haven't. So instead of getting stuck in comparison, I ask myself, what have they figured out I still need to learn?